Welcome to Legend Lore with Ron and John, where we talk about Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
I am Ron, and I'm a development manager at Paizo, working on the Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I've been playing tabletop RPGs for nearly 40 years, and I've developed and written dozens of Pathfinder products. I'm also the GM for the Intrepid Heroes actual play podcast right here on the No Direction Network.
And I'm John, and I've been playing RPGs for over 40 years, and I've contributed to multiple RPG blogs and podcasts, and I have a PhD in the field of consumer intelligence. And this week, we're talking about...
But before we get into talking about the Abomination Vaults 5th Edition, before we get into that, I want to remind everybody that nothing that we're saying here is official. Even with the connection that we have to Paizo, we are not speaking on Paizo's behalf. As always, everything that we say and do is comes really down to how you're running it at your table.
All right. Well, that's all well and good, but I'm really excited about this announcement that was just made that Paizo is taking the Abomination Vault, putting it in a compendium, and not only doing that for Pathfinder players, but now moving into 5th edition. That's super exciting.
That is correct. Yes, we are making a 5th edition product of our one of the best-selling adventure paths we have for 2nd edition. There's kind of no reason not to. We've got a lot of. We're really confident in the story that we're telling. It's a great story, great NPCs. It's great maps, great art. So it's something that we really thought we'd be able to move into. To update to the 5th edition rules and have all the people that play 5th edition be the ones who are going to be able to play the Abomination Vaults campaign.
Well, that's super. Now, how hard was that conversion to do? I mean, it's a completely different system, but, they are related, even if distantly.
They are in that they are, you're going to go into dungeons, you're going to fight monsters. There is a dragon in the dungeon. I will tell you that. Spoilers there.
Yeah.
But the actually a lot of the conversion work was done by David N. Ross. He's not one of the 3 original writers of the Pathfinder 2nd edition version of the Adventure Path. But he knows 5th edition back and forward. I've had the good fortune of working with David on several projects, including 5th edition projects. So I knew he would be able to handle this both skillfully and well. And it was not a day after I started talking to him about it that he started to raise some issues that are the differences between the systems, about how they might be able to make better, how they might smooth over better for 5th edition. And then I'm like, he's the right guy, absolutely the right guy to help work through this conversion. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
we've got a couple of people that are very familiar with 5th edition that play a lot of 5th edition on our staff, other than me. I've got 5th edition familiarity. We've got plenty of people who also do, including our editors, and getting these people to see what we've done and make sure that it's presenting it in the clearest, cleanest, best way for 5th edition DMs is something that's been really important to us. We've got a lot of skills to do it, and we're really fortunate.
Yeah, how long that conversion take? Was it longer than developing the adventure path in the first place, or a lot shorter?
The development process is probably a little bit shorter. Wow. I do think that the actual it's easy to underestimate the difficulty of the conversion, because it's not just flip around some DCs and change out some treasure. It's, how do you structurally build an encounter? And sometimes how do you structurally build an encounter with monsters that exist in one system but not in the other? Or are substantially different in their challenge from one to the other. So there's kind of a lot to think about there. And it's really getting into sort of, not just every page, every paragraph, but every word. Make sure that you're presenting things in the right way.
Wow. Now with the creatures that you're talking about and the monsters, there are some D&D specific monsters. Were you able to call them the same thing, or is there some IP issues you got to deal with that?
No, in a lot of cases, what we've done, and this has a lot to do with building on the work that we've done to put the 5th edition bestiary for the Kingmaker adventure path. As people may not know, we've got we ran the crowdfunded campaign to get the Kingmaker updated to Pathfinder 2nd edition, but to help people who play that who want to play that for other rule systems, we have a separate bestiary basically for 5th edition. So you're not going to get a whole new you're not going to get a complete campaign beginning to end in 5th edition for Kingmaker. You're getting a bunch of the monsters that have been updated. And if we have something in our game that you face that we need 5th edition for, 5th edition creature statistics for, we'll give you that. Carthage is a big warbling ostrich monster, right? Well, that doesn't exist in Dungeons and Dragons, so we gave you 5th edition stats for a Carthage. Along the same lines, something that might exist in the Dungeons and Dragons rules already, you know, a goblin or a kobold, we just say it's a goblin or it's a kobold. We know you've got stats for that. So we were able to keep those. The thing that makes the Abomination Vaults product different is that it, in fact, is the complete campaign beginning to end. You don't need any other books. You've got the whole story. And so what that meant is we've given you an appendix with all of the 5th edition stats of stuff you might need. So if there's a part of the thing where you're going up against a specific type of underground creature that may exist in Dungeons and Dragons, maybe drow, for an example. We know you've got drow stats. But if you go up against a different kind of underground creature that we have in our world, say the vampire-like Urdeffens, well, we've given you all the Urdeffen stats you might need.
Now, you know, when you're doing that sort of conversion there, what's kind of the impetus behind it? I mean, aren't they a competing system?
Well, it's not. Competing is a really hard word. I don't think so. I feel like there are a lot of people who play 5th edition and also play Pathfinder 2nd edition. I mean, I'm one of them. You're one of them. But there are plenty of people who might have a preference for one or the other, but their group kind of leans them in a particular direction. And what we want to do is we want to get those groups that play 5th edition, we want to show them what we can do as storytellers, as the sort of narrative campaigns. Here's what we can give you as a whole story campaign from beginning to end. And we picked a really good one. The Abomination Vaults has been very approachable because everybody knows what it's like to go, you know, into a dungeon, kick down a door, and fight the monsters. But it also has a lot of really fun NPCs and a nearby town that's really engaging. A lot of the things that made some of the early Dungeons and Dragons adventures really popular, the fact the village of Hamlet was next to the Temple of Elemental Evil, is really kind of in the DNA of Abomination Vaults from the beginning. And so we're able to sort of return that to Dungeons and Dragons.
Now, you wrote a GM's companion for the Abomination Vault for Pathfinder 2nd edition that's done really well on Drive-Thru RPG. Are you going to do something like that for 5th edition to go on the DM's Guild?
Well, it's been done, frankly, in the adventure. And here's what I mean. The Pathfinder book is going to say, you know, you go ahead and fight this monster, right? Go look in Bestiary 2 for the stats of this monster, or go look in the back of the book for the stats of this monster. We couldn't point like that in the 5th edition Abomination Vaults. So, excuse me, let me back up. One of the things that I did was just compile all the stats you would need in one document. There's some checklists for the quests, and there's some mini adventures, a lot of other kind of ancillary fun stuff. But the bulk of the pages of the Abomination Vaults GM's Guide is the value of it is here's all the stats you're going to need. Well, a big chunk at the end of the Abomination Vaults 5th edition is exactly that. When I was just saying how we give you the stats for the warbling ostrich monster or the vampire underground people. I mean, they're already there. So in essence, that product is already produced. And in fact, I feel like the presentation of it, I learned a little bit about having put together my Pathfinder 2nd edition Abomination Vaults GM's Guide about, okay, how is it useful to compile stats that you might need, make them easy to reference. They kind of pop off the page right where you need them when you're doing some dramatic flipping at the table, because you need to expect your characters to get to that room first, and so on. So yeah, put that to use.
Cool. Now, is it going to be hardcover or PDF only, or some combination for this?
It's going to be both. It's going to be both, and I believe that the hardcover. I'm tactile, right? I want to hold the hardcover in my hands. Me too.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
And I believe that if you were a subscriber to our Adventure Path line, you have to check the website to be sure, but I think you get the PDF if you're a subscriber, but you won't get the hard copy. That doesn't come as part of the subscription. You have to get that separately.
Oh, okay. Well, still, that's
both
neat.
Will absolutely be available.
Yeah. And is it going to be in like 5th edition colors on the cover, or are you going to make it more Pathfinder looking still?
I haven't seen the final cover. I've seen some of the mock-ups that we've done, and it's
Yeah,
got a big 5E logo right at the top, right above
yeah,
the larger
yeah,
Pathfinder logo.
yeah,
But it's otherwise the same art. I really love the art on the cover of it with
yeah.
some of the foes you're going to come up against
Right.
and things like that. But I really think that uh, the cover treatment that we did for the second edition version was so awesome. I
Right.
think what we're going to do is just put a sort of a logo saying 5e,
Yeah.
and that'll be the distinguishing thing.
Right. Cool. So how well do these sorts of things do? It's basically a third party book for 5e. How well do those things typically perform for 5e? Do you have any sense
Well,
for that?
well, we don't, but we've got hopes.
Yeah.
The thinking is that this is where, I mean, the Dungeons and Dragons is just, orders of their players are orders of magnitude greater than the number of players that we have for Pathfinder Second Edition, and that's a reality of the industry. We really love the game that we do, but we know that there's a lot more players we can reach by putting together a fifth edition product like this, and the
Right.
more players we're able to reach. We're able to do so fairly cost effectively. Like I said, we're using the same art, the same maps.
Right.
The layout is different. The time that I put into it, that a great edit team has put into it, that the art team has done to make some changes and throw in some. There's a couple of pieces of additional art that we've thrown in, and a couple of
Mhm.
things we've smoothed over. So it's not entirely. It's certainly far from cost less to do, but it
Right.
is much less to convert this over than it would be to do a whole new fifth edition project from the ground up.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So what else is Paizo going to be doing with for 5th edition? Is this it? Is that all they're going to
Well,
do?
well, I can tell you, as of today, and I'm speaking only as of today, right now, we are planning to convert each and every one of our adventure paths over to fifth edition. We expect it to be
Wow.
so lucrative. We're going
Wow.
to convert each and every one of those. We're going to take a lot of our setting stuff,
Yeah.
our Lost Omens line, which is very popular, our organized play, even the bulk of our Starfinder stuff, which is a very
Really?
popular setting. We're going to convert
Wow.
all of that over to fifth edition. I'm telling you that as of today. We're going to convert. The plan is to convert
Wow.
all of that stuff over to fifth edition, and then once we have now that we've got that in the works, we are going to not only are we going to cease any production of any Pathfinder Second Edition, any of the Starfinder rule. We're just not going to do any of that anymore. It's all going to be fifth edition. We are
Wow.
so committed to this that what we're doing is we're taking the stock that we have in our warehouse of these older Pathfinder Second Edition, Pathfinder First Edition, Starfinder products, and I believe that the plan is to have the warehouse crew bring them out of the warehouse and then set them all on fire, so we have nothing we can sell anymore
Wow.
except Fifth Edition.
That's a huge commitment. I people are going to be up in arms over that. I can't believe
Well,
you
I mean,
guys
I'm
are going
telling
to do
you, that
that.
is only the plan as of today.
Okay.
Who knows
Wow.
how plans may change tomorrow?
Wow. Wow. I was wondering when Jake Tondro went over to Wizards of the Coast, I was thinking that, he's a Pathfinder and primarily Starfinder guy. I was
Hmm.
thinking maybe they were going to make a move more into kind of the space fantasy stuff. And that kind of makes sense now that maybe they're working on something you guys know about that we don't know about. And what you have with Starfinder basically is going to kill that line anyway. And you'll just kind
Well,
of dovetail it
I
in.
can't say what we're doing about Starfinder Fifth Edition. I can't
Mhm.
say what we're going to be doing with Street Finder Fifth Edition or
Mhm.
Trailfinder Fifth Edition. That none of these, all of these side games that I think haven't been fully announced yet.
Right.
But as of today, yeah, that's the plan. Let's pull them all to Fifth Edition.
Wow. Wow. And what's your work going to look like then when it changes over?
Well, one of the things that I'm doing as a manager is that I have to, one of my jobs is to ensure the safety of my team and other people.
Right.
So I think I'm going to be one of the people who is participating in making sure the warehouse product fire out in the parking lot is something that is safely done. That I want to make
Right.
sure that I'm keeping other people back to make sure that when we incinerate all those products, we incinerate them good and well, and nobody gets hurt. That's the immediate task that I've got.
You know, you guys are in Redmond. That's going to take quite a bit of permitting to get done. Has that already been taken care of?
You know, that's it's not really my pay grade. Well, all I know is what we're doing is we're going to make sure that there is zero product like that we can get to people in the future, because 5th edition is absolutely and only the way we're going to go from now on.
Yeah, well, man, that seems like such a waste. Can't you at least donate it instead? So get rid of it.
Well, no, because you mean when we're done burning it? No, because
no,
the plan
don't
is
burn it. Donate it instead.
No. What we're going to do is we're going to put it all out. We're going to set it all on fire, and then when it all burns down to ashes, we're going to take the ashes. We're going to scoop all those together, and then we're going to set all those ashes on fire just to make sure that it burns down a whole second time, so there is nothing left of the Pathfinder 2nd edition, 1st edition Starfinder stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that's nuts.
Some people may consider that to be a really extreme move, but what we're doing is we just want to demonstrate our commitment to 5th edition.
What about all the PDFs though? Those are out there electronically. You can't burn those.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. What we're going to do is when you get the products, we're also going to take all of the servers upon which we maintain those files, and then we're going to go ahead and put them in and we're going to burn those as well. And that's where the permitting, I think, becomes a concern, because at that point we're not just burning
metal and
paper
plastic
and cardboard and ink,
stuff.
but it's well, that's why I think it's important that we do the sort of the double burning process.
Right. And I suppose you're going to keep this secret so that there's not a big crowd trying to collect stuff out of the pile as you're doing it.
Well, let's just say that part of the reason they've got me tasked to make sure that I'm keeping people safe and away when we're doing the fires. I'm kind of a big guy. I can also kind of work to keep the crowds back. Anybody that might want to dart in to grab a flaming copy of the Lost Omens World Guide from the fires. Nope. That goes against our commitment to 5th edition.
Wow. But what about everything that's in progress now?
Oh, it's all done. A lot of the things that you may have seen us talking about, the new Lost Omens Impossible Lands, or the continuation of the Horizons of the Vast. None of those things are actually going to materialize except in 5th edition form. So I know the people who are in the middle of those campaigns.
We're going to have to switch over to finish it?
Yes, in fact. We will be providing some what we call campaign conversion assistance. That is to say, what we can do is if you log in, what we'll do is we'll go into your system and we'll automatically convert all of your PDFs that you have on your system so that it's all the new 5th edition stuff. It's going to be very easy for you to convert because it'll happen all electronically and automatically.
Right. So basically, you'll substitute the revised stuff in there.
Yep.
So you won't lose anything you already paid for.
That's exactly right.
But you have to change systems.
Oh yeah, it'll be in the new system that we are convinced everyone's going to be on. So we're changing that way.
Yeah, you know, when 4th edition came out, right? That's kind of what spurred like Paizo's creation, wasn't it? And a lot of people turning away.
Well, now here's the issue. We want, part of our commitment to 5th edition that we're demonstrating is that we're not talking about or acknowledging the existence of earlier editions. So I'm afraid I can't answer that question. I don't even know what you're talking about with a 4th edition. No. There's the one that we are behind, and that is 5th edition only.
Well, are you concerned that some of your players, some of your audience, some of the devout people to Paizo are going to say, you know what? We're just going to keep playing 2nd edition instead and forget about them?
Well, I mean, we are proud of the 2nd edition game. I mean, we think that there are people who are out there who are going to still play it after we've made the full switch to 5th edition. I mean, the best we can do is hope that they will take us up on our automatic conversion policy of the electronic electronic systems. And I think that we can't stop some of the people that are out there doing that. We can try to convince them that, as with the Abomination Vaults, conversion to 5th edition is absolutely the way to go. And I think it's probably fair to say that, for myself personally, I mean, I won't force you to switch over to 5th edition, but I will look down on you, and to my friends, I will make fun of you. How about that?
Man. Well, are you gonna? Man, I was just getting up to speed with GMing second edition. So now do
Mhm.
I have to learn how to DM, right? Because it's not GMing anymore, right? I got to learn how to DM fifth edition.
It depends. If you do the conversion, if you do the file conversion that we've done, it
Yeah.
not only takes the existing PDFs that you have on your system and converts them over to fifth edition, but what
Yeah.
we've done is we've embedded a lot of subconscious rules knowledge in there. So when
Hmm.
you read the fifth edition, it'll do the same kind of overriding in your mind once you read it. You will
Wow.
forget that there is an alchemist class. That's not a thing, but you'll remember that warlocks exist, and maybe there's a good comparison there, right?
Huh.
It's a very
Yeah.
sophisticated updating that we're doing.
Well, that type is, that takes time though. It can't happen instantaneously.
Oh
It's
no,
gonna
it
take a
can.
while.
In fact, oh no, that is the plan as of today. Today is the day
Wow.
that is going to be available and happen.
Okay. Well, I'll look to my downloads. I'm kind of at a loss for this, and you seem pretty happy about it though.
Oh, I think I've done plenty of the reading myself of the updated material. So
Hmm. Hmm.
it took me a little mental reach to remember that there was ever an alchemist class.
Wow.
But no, I think
Uh,
you'll be as happy about it as I am. And this commitment to fifth edition and absolutely nothing but fifth edition from Paizo going forward.
well, I think that'll be fun. I kind of look forward to that. I've been thinking that if fifth edition had a space fantasy component, that I would be pretty interested in that, and seeing what it's like. A lot because the user base is so big. Now, will organized play, will that be basically incorporated into Adventures League then? Or will it still be a standalone thing for Paizo?
Oh well, yeah. All of those conversion can happen automatically. You know, the organized play, Pathfinder Society and Starfinder Society is going to be Adventurers League. The products on Pathfinder Infinite and Starfinder Infinite are going to go right over to DM's Guild. I mean, that's all.
Right.
That's
Okay.
all seamlessly ready to roll out as of today.
Wow. Wow. So you guys been working on this for a while then. This is not like a spur of the moment thing, it sounds like.
We put a lot of effort into it. It's been an awful lot of work, but we know that it's
Mm,
going to be worth it in the long run to everybody.
yeah. So do you anticipate then there will be some expansion or contraction of the folks that work at Paizo because of this?
Oh, I feel like we've got plenty of. I feel we're presenting ourselves to have a really big support. I think this is going to be really successful and allow us to move forward. Obviously, we've had to get the conversion up and going. We've kind of hired and not let people really known about it. A lot of back
Right.
end people, a lot of tech people to make this
Right.
go, but it's
Right.
required a lot of narrative work as well.
Mhm.
And I can't really say that we're going to be doing a great big wave of hiring for this. In fact, we've already kind of worked everybody in order to get this up and going. So this is really sort of the point at which we kind of let it go and realize that all of our plans have come to fruition now.
Right.
So
Right.
now it's a matter of sitting back and coasting and watching the world move from what was it called, Pathfinder second edition into fifth edition.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited that you're going to have more time because you've been so busy with all this that we haven't been able to game much. So I'm looking forward to getting some games in. In fact, I
Yeah,
think
we'll be able to play.
I think next week. Now, I was wondering why you had 3 games scheduled like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday together when you've been
Mhm.
super busy when you haven't been able to do any of that.
Oh, it's because now I can do my Sunday fifth edition game, and then my
Yeah.
Monday fifth edition game, my Tuesday fifth edition game, and then I skip until a Thursday fifth edition game.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
I mean, I got
Now,
to spend a little bit of time with my family. I think I'm going to
uh,
spend that downtime making sure that my kids know fifth edition really well.
mm, that's good. Have they been, kind of reading up on it a little bit already, or is this is going to be new for them?
No, I think one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I was embracing this not only with myself but with my family. So yeah, we've
Yeah.
had a lot of talk about it. My son's very excited about his tiefling warlock that he's going to play.
Yeah.
My eldest is happy that she can still be an elven druid and is going to
Yeah.
keep being an elven druid all the way through. So yeah, that it's going to totally work. We're all ready to embrace it in this household, and you
Excellent.
will be too.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to move in that direction. Yeah. So What else is going on with you besides that? That sounds like a really big move. Are you doing any additional writing because of this, or are you kind of still taking a break from that?
Well, I'm angling myself up for a break right now. That's
Yeah.
actually been a lot of fun stuff I've been able to do. Some of the writing recently,
Hmm.
just outside of work, even. Um, I do think that that some of the additional work to update the Kickstarter that I ran for the
Oh yeah.
Scaldwood Blight,
Yeah.
whew, switching that thing over real quick to fifth edition from its enormous second edition state, that was a chore, but a worthy one. And I feel
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
it would doing anything less would really impede the strong sense that I want to give that we are committed to fifth edition D&D. But that's
Right.
been work that's worth it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Are- Now, what about for fun? You guys going on vacation coming up now? Now that you have this time off, I hear.
Oh yes, yes. We actually are planning a trip in a little bit. We're going to Hawaii. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Wow.
Um, and then we're going to be going to Montana later in the summer to do some camping. So it's going to be fun. We're getting some time away. This has been a real big announcement, and we're kind of taking some well deserved time off afterward.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. You know, I was hoping to get some time off here over spring break, and I just got too wrapped up working on other projects. And I'm hoping come summer, I think my wife is going to be ready for a big trip, and I haven't really thought where we would go yet for that. Hawaii's a little too hot in the summer to do, but
That's
Montana,
true.
Montana sounds nice. So
Montana was, if you'd like, with my brother, sister in law, other couple members of my family, I'm going to be running a half marathon. So you want to come run a half marathon
whoa,
in Montana?
what's the date on that?
I want to say it's July. I ought to be more informed than I am
Yeah.
about this.
Well, when do you start training for that? Because I would have to do some training to get back into running shape like that.
Oh, I'm training right now. I've got a
Oh,
long run scheduled for this weekend, and yeah, it's been a
wow.
little bit. It's a little bit of a part time job to get
Yeah.
the. I'm actually doing this half marathon in the summer and then a full marathon in September.
Wow.
And getting ready for a marathon is kind of a chore. I have a good friend of mine who's a doctor who she said that one of the best things that you can do for your body is to prepare to run a marathon, and one of the
Right.
worst things you can do to your body is actually run a marathon.
Yes. Yes. Well, I did that, back before when I was younger than you even. I don't know, when I got sick, it made it really hard to do distance running. My
Hmm.
my muscles and everything really didn't recover well, but I think they're doing better. I don't know, but I pulled a muscle last week. So, man, last weekend, Deb wanted to have some put flower beds up in our place in Camino in the back,
Hmm.
and I had to wheelbarrow everything from the parking area up the hill, and it was 5,000 pounds of dirt, peat moss, manure, and bark that I moved in 2 days.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness! How long did now hauled a huge amount of wood right from the back for the new deck? Right? Is that you've already done the hauled stuff up and down? Although that was a while back.
yeah, that was rock, actually. That was 4,000 pounds of
Oh, okay.
stone. Yeah, and then this is dirt for the flower beds. But I did all that, and so I'd actually pulled a muscle in my calf before that, and now I'm,
Oh
like,
no.
hobbling around, and
Oh.
I had my first class yesterday, and they put me in the furthest away building on the 3rd floor in a building that doesn't have an elevator.
Oh my
Oh, man.
goodness.
Yeah, I told my students, "I don't know what I did to piss people off, but this is oh, so
This is as far away as they can put you. Well, I
yeah,
lived in Chicago for several years, and
yeah,
people being on a third floor or fourth floor walk
yeah,
up was
yeah,
pretty common. There were people who would not invite friends over. They're like, "Oh, I'd have you over, but I'm on a fourth floor walk up, and I don't want to do that to
yeah.
anybody."
Well, normally it's not a big deal, but I'm barely walking around with this calf
You know?
muscle that's so bad, and so it's like, I don't so anyway, when I get better, maybe I'll start training, and, we can do long runs together. I don't
Oh,
know.
that would be good. I'll
I'm
warn you, I'm not
slow.
very fast.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So have you run a marathon before?
I have. I've done, I don't know, three of them, four of them.
Oh,
Every
cool.
time I tell myself it's going to be my last one, and then I end
Yeah.
up signing up for another one. This
There
one
you
I
go.
signed up for to run back in the late summer, early fall of 2020. And so you can kind of guess that
Yes.
you know, that got canceled, got postponed a year, and then the next year it got canceled. So now they're doing it this year. The advantage of this marathon that I'm running in September is that it starts like a 5-minute walk from my house. So
Oh, yeah.
I can just get up, and then the trail that a lot of it is on is the trail that I do all my practice runs on.
Wow.
So this is actually, it's a very, very local, easy marathon for me to do.
Is it
I've run
flat?
this marathon before. It is. It's not completely flat, but it's the
Okay.
trail used to be a railroad,
Right.
and it's
right.
been, the tracks have all gone up and it's been regraded, but it's a shallow grade because it was supposed to be hauling lumber in and out of
Right.
the little valley that we live in.
Right.
So it does
right.
go up, and it goes up kind of quite a ways over the course of it, but it goes up so slowly that it's not as unpleasant to run on as some of the other really hilly areas that are around here. I will say I ran a marathon on it 2019, I want to say, and the saddest part about that marathon is when I was doing all of my training, it's a trail. There are wild blackberry bushes
Yeah.
all up and down. And let me tell you how great that is to be, I'm 11 miles
Yeah.
into my practice run. Let me grab a fistful of blackberries just literally right here off the trail, you know, and then keep going. And so I was even telling my brother-in-law who was running it with me, I'm like, this is gonna be so great because I mean, just fistfuls of blackberries right there.
Yeah.
And the 2 days before the marathon, they took a big mower and just mowed about 15 feet away from the trail on all sides,
Wow.
all the way down the length, cutting down all the blackberry, and there was nothing.
Wow. Well, that sounds like fun. We'll have to touch base a little bit more on that because I'm serious. I think that's something I like to gear up for. And it used to be, when I run a marathon, it was for me like a 2.5 month training period. But now I think of more like a 6 month. So I have to get started now.
Okay,
So,
how many have you've run marathons before, right?
I ran one, and I've done some half marathons. But my oldest is doing a lot of running now, and I'm really jealous. And it's like, man, I would like to do some running with her. So I got to get some distance in. The shortest run she does is 8 miles. So,
Wow. Yeah.
it's like, no,
And that's,
not me.
I'm not even up to 8 miles on my long practice runs on the weekend yet.
Yeah.
So
No, I hear you. Well, good. I'll have to start catching up with you. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I got to say, this is earth-shattering news. I can't believe all this is going down today.
Oh, absolutely. And today is, who knows what tomorrow's going to bring, but that is the news for today.
All right. Well, I'm John.
And I'm Ron.
And this is Legend Lore.
Legend Lore.